Adam Wainwright will get the call this afternoon. It's day baseball from Busch Stadium. The Cardinals looking to avoid a sweep. It's the Florida Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals this afternoon on Fox Sports Midwest. And along with Al Rabowski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. And the Cardinals were shut down in Game 1 last night. And when the Cardinals win, their offense is clicking, the pitching is there. But right now, the offense hit and miss, but the pitching has been there pretty much since day one.
That's right. The pitching staff has been doing an outstanding job, particularly the starters, and they set the tone. But offensively, this team has struggled. You see they're scoring 4 runs per game. That usually is enough, but really too many times. Just a high percentage of their losses are in games when they've always scored 2 runs or less.
And last night, Anibal Sanchez, the right-hander that has thrown a no-hitter in his career, was outstanding against the Cardinals. He had 8 strikeouts, and just when you thought the Cardinals might get something going, he got the key flyout, a strikeout, or even a double play off the bat of Albert Pujols. And ironically enough, since Pujols and Holiday have switched in this lineup, those two with no RBIs. So if the Cardinals want to win games, no doubt, Al, the offense has got to be a little bit better.
Absolutely, and they're just going to have to keep on grinding out there. You know, this offense is so dependent on Pujols. When he doesn't drive in a run, it really becomes stagnant. But there's too many proven hitters out there. Eventually you're going to figure this out, but you don't want to keep on spoiling these good pitching assignments.
And when we come back, it's Adam Wainwright. We'll take a look at his starts in May. It started in Philly, off to Pittsburgh, and then last time out against Cincinnati. We'll talk about that when we come back. It's Cardinals baseball this afternoon. In a 2-1 loss in 10 innings. He's also seen Pittsburgh on the road and at Cincinnati.
Well, on May 9th at Pittsburgh, he wins this ball game. That was 12 consecutive quality starts for Adam Wainwright. Then on May 15th at Cincinnati, he had that streak, the longest in the major league, stopped as he loses this ball game. Coincidentally, 104 pitches that day. The last 4 times he's faced the Marlins, He's thrown 104 pitches.
A lefty getting the start for the Marlins today. That's Nate Robertson. He's 4-3 with an ERA of 4.35. We'll talk about him when we come back. Nate Robertson will get the start, the lefty for the Marlins. Last time he made a start at Busch Stadium, Scott Rowland and Jim Edmonds got to him in 5 innings of the 2006 World Series in game number 3. The Cardinals, of course, would win it 4-1. Detroit would throw the baseball all over the place, and the rest was history. Nate Robertson now wearing a Marlins uniform.
Acquisition late in spring training by the Marlins. His originally drafted club has pitched very well on the road, 3-1.
So Robertson going against Adam Wainwright today, and Wainwright will take to the mound after this brief timeout. We'll have our first pitch and starting lineup. That's next on Fox Sports Midwest. And a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. By Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. And by Chevy's Expert Auto Service. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at stlchevy.com. The banks of the Mississippi, Busch Stadium. And looks like we have a short window to try to get this game in. And let's hope the rain stays away, and we'll have baseball for you all afternoon long. Cardinals and the Marlins. Marlins looking to make it 2 in a row in a brief sweep over the Cardinals. Only a 2-game series here at Busch Stadium. The Marlins come into play at 22-19 and 3 games back of Philly. Chris Coughlin will lead it off, the Rookie of the Year from a season ago. Gabby Sanchez, and then Hanley Ramirez. Jorge Cantu, Dan Uglo, homered here last night. He's been swinging a hot bat. Cody Ross, Cameron Maben, he also homered. Brett Hayes is their catcher, and their pitcher is Nate Robertson. He'll bat ninth. The Southwest Airlines Marlins starting lineup. They get one of the game's best. Our Marshall Wireless Sprint starter. And this will be Adam Wainwright with already 2 complete games in the first month and a half of this season. 5-2 ERA, that's very good. And opponents only hitting .210 against him. Al, he's given up a total of 2 home runs, one of those coming in his last start. And he talked about his inability of being able to put some hitters away with 2 strikes, and that cost him that game on Saturday.
You just love to have someone that assumes responsibility, you know, is always looking to improve, to become a better pitcher. And Adam right now knows that he is one of the elite pitchers and has that mental attitude to prove it.
And that's a strike, according to Greg Gibson, our home plate umpire. Jerry Davis, the crew chief, at first. Sam Holbrook over at second. Brian Knight at third. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Lefties are batting under 200 against Wainwright. Righties 221.
He has thrown over 104 pitches in each of his last 4 starts against the Marlins, which you talked about. And maybe that last pitch an indication that this zone might be bigger than normal just because of the incoming weather.
Oh, you hope so. I mean, one, you want strikes to be called, but Whitey Herzog talks about a game when he was leading off with a very bad forecast, and first pitch was a foot outside, and umpire said strike 1. He looked back at the umpire and said strike 1, Whitey. Next pitch was...
That's hammered out to deep right. And this ball is off the top of the wall. Fielded cleanly by Ludwig. And it's a leadoff double. Right off the very top of the wall it looked like. And Coughlin looking back, thinking he had his 3rd home run.
Well, maybe the good sign is that it bounced back into the playing surface instead of bouncing forward for a home run. But the Rookie of the Year last year, right off the top of the wall, and then bounced forward. Ludwig in perfect position, gets it back into second, but after the second pitch was a foot outside, the umpire said strike 2, and Whitey looked back and he said, Whitey, it's a bad forecast. We're going to get the game in. Whitey swung at the next pitch, told everyone, hey, they're going to play this game. It's going to be a big strike zone. All players adjusted to it, and they had a snappy game.
Interesting to see that the Marlins showing bunt here in the first inning. Indication that runs may be tough against Adam Wainwright. Also maybe trying to grab a lead in case this game is rain short.
Strategy changes a little bit because of that fact that it could be a rain abbreviated game, so it is imperative to jump out and get a lead.
Freddie Gonzalez in there, the Marlins manager. 2 balls, no strikes on Gabby Sanchez.
Again, you brought up a very good point. We were walking away after the game. We talked about the Florida Marlins and the young players, but extremely competitive. Not a high payroll, but you know, they're a hungry group of guys because they're not going to make a lot of money. By the time they start getting eligible for arbitration or free agency, they get passed on. But it is an interesting formula, and it does work having guys that are hungry and aggressive.
And as you brought up, you still have to have talent, and they've done a great job evaluating other organizations' talent once they decide to trade some of their bigger names, and that misses, so the first 2 have reached. Let's take a look at the defense behind Wainwright following the double and walk. Holiday, Mather, Ludwig in the outfield. Freeze, Brendan Ryan gets a start at short. Lopez moves over to second, then Pujols and Wainwright and Molina. The battery, the Cardinals defense presented by Dobbs. We get a chance to see the Marlins on television. You know, when we're on the road a lot, you see how they play and the different teams, and it just looks like it's a hungry team. Now, this is one of their high-priced players, but he's a young guy, and they feel that he's an unbelievable talent. That's why they locked him up moving into a new ballpark. And he had 3 hits in his return to the lineup after the controversy of the last couple of days.
When you have a talented player like this that puts himself in a hot seat, and really I think what's safe to say embarrassed himself, is look out, because he can come back on a tear. He's had his problems against Wainwright, but new motivation.
Good curveball. 0-2. Cincinnati already with a 5-0 lead in the top of the second against the Atlanta Braves.
Wait till the ninth.
I'll wait till the ninth again. Hayward struck again last night for the Braves.
That was his first RBI, maybe even in the entire month of May.
Here's the 0-2 to Hanley Ramirez. Mistake. It's 1-0 Marlins. Coughlin will come in to score. Sanchez on his way to third. And 0-2 hanger, and Ramirez knocks it into left for a 1-0 lead.
22nd RBI for last year's National League batting champion. Doesn't happen often when it's a shortstop, and there you see that little breaking ball kind of hung up a little bit, didn't have that good downward action, little hump in it, and he made Adam pay. Early lead for Florida.
This is what happened over the weekend, and Adam talked about that between starts, how frustrated he was in getting hitters with 2 strikes and sometimes 0-2, and he made some mistakes. He does so here with Ramirez. 1-0 lead. Here's Jorge Cantu. Cantu is hitting .280, 7 home runs, driven in 32. Doubled last night. He went 2 for 5. Cardinals will begin the interleague portion of their schedule this weekend against the Angels. And St. Louis will also host Seattle and the Oakland A's in interleague play. We'll travel to Toronto and Kansas City. It's knocked out of play. Cardinals 9-6 in interleague play last year. And the Cardinals are 190 overall, which is the second best among National League teams behind these Marlins. No balls, 2 strikes. I believe that's the first inning run that Adam Wainwright has given up this year.
It is. Prior to tonight, or this afternoon, no runs in the first, 4 in the second, none in the third, 4 in the fourth, none in the fifth, 6 in the sixth, 1 in the seventh, 2 in the eighth.
We've talked an awful lot about interleague play. I know you're not a big fan, neither am I, because of the unbalanced schedule. I think the novelty to an extent has worn off. But bottom line is fans do come out, and they come out in big numbers, and it's a money generator.
Well, the Cardinals are going to draw against any opponent.
But league-wide, some of those teams that historically don't draw, it is a way to get some big gates.
And we can show you a whole bunch of matchups that make no sense, but you know, one of my problems is we have never been to Anaheim. Well, we've only been to Yankee Stadium once.
Have not been to Baltimore.
Not been to Baltimore. But the Yankees have been here once or twice. One time. I mean, we're talking about almost 15 years. And Boston's been here once, right?
2-2 pitch. Good curveball. Much sharper break that time. Right before that pitch, Molina pointed at his front shoulder. And we've talked about this before, but talking about trying to keep that shoulder closed. And maybe that's why that hump was in the previous curveballs. Open up, you get underneath it, and you don't have that sharp break.
And that one there kind of backed up a little bit. What fooled Cantu is it stayed inside rather than, you know, more sweeping or down and away.
And this is one of the hottest hitters right now in the National League in Dan Uggla. Tremendous power. He already has 11 home runs.
It's tied Ethier for second place. And I think it's a little surprising who's leading the National League in home runs. Kelly Johnson.
Yeah. Runners scored 8 out of 8 times in this spot. Kelly Johnson homered again last night against San Francisco.
Is that 13? Ethan and Ugla have 11.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's starting to rain here in St. Louis. Very light drizzle.
You can play through this.
We played through it last night. We talked about it. The Marlins, no stranger to seeing rain. It always rains, it seems like, when we're through Miami.
To the Marlins, this is not rain.
Yeah, this is nothing.
Good breaking ball there.
1-2. A lot sharper now as this inning's gone forward.
Well, sometimes that'll just a circumstance. Now he's under the gun where you make a bad pitch and you'll produce at least 1 run. So you just concentration a little bit tighter. You've worn yourself into this game a little bit. Now you're reaching out, finishing off your pitches.
In the air, right center. Mather makes the catch. Runner will tag. And it's 2-0 Florida.
9 for 9 now.
That's right. RBI number 28 for Dan Ugla. So a 2-0 lead for the Marlins, and in steps Cody Ross, their right fielder. Now I want to ask you about Freddie Gonzalez and how he handled the Ramirez situation, and by all accounts, we've yet to hear a negative about it. What does that do for the other guys outside Ramirez on that 25-man roster?
That's the real key. And how Freddie handled it is he told everybody else, he told that guy sitting on the bench that you're just as important as one of the star players. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you that superstars get treated, with preference. But you got to be careful. You can't really have one set of rules for them and one set of rules for everybody else. And Freddie, and there's no excuse for not hustling. So that's the one time a lot of managers feel the most severe punishment they can get is to take you off the field or bench you.
Embarrass you almost by doing that, to get respect from the others.
And I will say is Freddie didn't embarrass him. He embarrassed himself. Mm-hmm. And then Freddie just reacted to it. And you can, whether you want to say, hey, look, obviously you think your leg's hurt. Then why should I play you out there? I'm going to take you out of the game because you're hurt. But not playing the next day because he hadn't come back to the club and accepted his wrongdoing. I think Freddie handled it perfectly. And the teammates will gain a lot more respect for Freddie in the way he handled that.
And he said, is there any more punishment or embarrassment than taking out a player during a major league game? He said, this is what we've all been striving to get towards, to play in the major leagues. One of the most famous ones that comes to mind, Billy Martin and Reggie Jackson.
I remember the play, and I remember seeing the scene in the dugout, in Boston, but I don't remember what Reggie did.
One and two is the count here on Cody Ross. You might remember that prior to the incident, the confrontation, Billy Martin made Reggie Jackson go all the way out. They were going out for defense, and then before the first pitch, pulled him back in.
I remember that part, but I don't remember what. I got Reggie fined $50,000 and suspended for an incident at Yankee Stadium. Which you can't do, but I mean, he was playing in Yankee Stadium. It was in the 9th inning, tie game, runner at first base. Munson was on first base, and Billy Martin gave Reggie Jackson the bunt sign, which I'm saying thank you, because it's 299 feet down the right field line. He wasn't going to be able to bunt against me.
We'll talk about it when we come back. Strikeout for Wainwright. And his second of the inning. 2-0 Marlins.
Tell me what it says.
RBIs for Ugla and Ramirez. Tony La Russa's lineup. Lopez, the switch hitter, he's at second today. Then Ludwig and Holiday, Pujols, Freeze, Molina, Joe Mather in center this afternoon. Brendan Ryan and the pitcher batting ninth, and that's Adam Wainwright. Nate Robertson getting the start for the Marlins.
Nice pickup late in spring training for the Marlins. Nate was originally signed by Florida and then traded to Detroit, and now he returns.
Up the middle and a base hit for Lopez. Your incident happened in the 10th inning of a game in the middle of July. Coughlin, Maben, Ross in the outfield. Cantu, Ramirez, Ugla, and Sanchez. This is the Dobbs defense for the Marlins. Robertson and Hayes.
Yeah, the first pitch, was he squared around the bunt, and I threw up and into him and kind of challenged his manhood, so swing the bat. And then the next pitch, the bunt was on. He made a crazy attempt. He couldn't make contact. They took the bunt off. He continued to bunt. The next, the second strike. Then Dick Hauser, the third base coach, went down and told him, "Hey, Billy took the bunt off." And Reggie kind of said, "Hey, you gave me the bunt. I'm going to bunt all the way through." Struck out. We eventually won that ball game, and Billy, fined him $50,000, suspended him. You can't do either one, But that's your credit for it.
So you were part of it. 2-1 pitch, and a swing and a miss. It was the first time since July 12th of last season that Adam Wainwright has given up a run in the first inning. That's how good he's been in the first.
The formula for the Cardinals is when they score first, they usually win. So when you have a pitcher goes out there and can throw a zero up there, let his offense settle in and take a lead, it's usually a part of that formula.
Well, the one thing about Reggie Jackson and Billy Martin, there were at least no egos involved. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Instead, a check on Lopez, and Sanchez made the catch.
Hey, remember, this is a Detroit pitcher. Last started a game in the World Series. So why would you think he maybe not going to throw a ball away?
Bad memories. 2006.
Isn't that incredible how poorly they fielded their positions?
It was unbelievable, and they didn't really hit in the series. And certainly, I think the layoff had a lot to do with it. But just throwing the ball away, no excuse. Our Toyota keys to the game since the lineup swap. 19 at bats, and you see 7 hits, but no RBIs with these two. Bit surprising, don't you think?
It really is. But the hits that they have acquired, Holiday has a couple doubles in there. I think Albert's all have been singles. And that's part of the reason why they haven't driven any runs. And Matt Holiday, just freakish how poorly his average is with runners in scoring position. But this is a proven hitter. That will change, and right now it's an ugly stat.
2-0. Out to visit. Catcher is Brett Hayes today. Saw Ronnie Paulino last night. And it's 2 balls, no strikes on Holiday with Pujols on deck and runners at first and second. Hank Robertson acquired going into spring training from the Tigers for left-handed pitcher Jay Voss. 2-1. Two balls, 2 strikes. Albert Pujols on deck. We're just underway here in the first inning. The 2-2. Matt Holiday still has not hit a home run here at Busch Stadium. Think about the tear that he went on when the Cardinals acquired him from Oakland. And he'll tell you that a couple weeks right before the trade, he was starting to swing the bat well over in the American League. 2-2. And I asked him if they pitched him differently in the American League, and he said not really.
Well, it kind of coincided with, remember, he started last season without his leg kick. And he abandoned that about 2 weeks before the trade, and right about that same time he started on a monster tear.
3-2. Lifted in the air. Left center. Lopez tagging up from second to third. The throw will go into second, and it's first and third with 1 out.
And we'll throw it to second to keep that double play in order. He stopped lifting that leg kick, and it's just part of his timing mechanism.
And now Pujols.
The Cardinals can't get at least one of those 2 runs back.
For Pujols, we haven't been seeing the extra base hits. A lot of singles lately. That could change in a hurry, though.
It sure could. And, he had the great month of April. Clutch hitter in April, but only 20% he's gotten the job done.
That's shocking to me, even though it's a small number, only 5 times. But it seems like every time he has an opportunity, he does it. He comes through.
But he's led us all to believe, that we just never see him not get the job done.
Against Nate Robertson, he is 4 for 4.
Now we believe that one.
Oh, yeah.
And yet that has a better chance of going down than.
Pujols, left field, hooking, and it is foul. Crushed it into the second deck. That'll get your attention. They came to the ballpark. They brought their right weather gear. They probably didn't bring a glove, thinking no souvenir.
And some of those people were taking a couple seconds to unwind their blankets to get their hands free.
Better be ready.
Yeah.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Reaches for it and spoils it. So the Cardinals hit so many home runs early, then went on that 9-game drought. 2-2 into shallow center. And making the catch, the second baseman. So how about that? Holiday and Pujols coming up with 2 runners on and nobody out, and cannot drive them in. And now it's 1 for 6 in that spot for Pujols. That's hard to believe.
I remember late last night they had runners at first and second, nobody out. Holiday expanded zone, struck out, and then Albert hit it, bounced into a double play. So it's just the way things are going right now. Here's one of the, a real odd stat on Freeze.
How much he's playing?
No. He great production, 25 RBI, second, but most of it's all in his first at bat.
And I bring up how much he's playing because he's played every inning at third base since April 20th, and that's the longest consecutive games played streak among the current Cardinals.
Yeah, 19 of his 25 RBIs have come in his first plate appearance of the game.
Now that is odd. And he's done so much damage with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. They shade him a bit to right center, and he delivers again. Cardinals get on the board thanks to David Freese, and it's 2-1.
Boy, that's a big pick-me-up for Holiday and Pujols. And you said 26 RBIs now. 20 have come in his first plate appearance of the game. Second most RBIs to Hayward's 29 among National League rookies. And he just looks so comfortable and relaxed when he's in that RBI situation. And he's hit for a high average, but boy, he's had opportunities.
I've talked to him about that, and he said, I look at it as if nobody's on. And I just try to basically put my best swing on it, where a lot of guys will get a little bit tighter or try to do a little too much. And David says, I don't do that. I just look at it as another at-bat. Nobody's on. Put a good swing on it.
I haven't quite heard that philosophy, but you hear guys talking to good RBI men say, I just love to come up in those opportunities. I relish them, and I just so relaxed with runners in scoring position. But why not take his approach? No big deal, just another plate appearance.
And Molina, in years past, has been very good in this spot too, with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, a ball and 2 strikes.
Talked a little bit last night that his ability to go to right field, and Cody Ross, who when Maven is not playing, is a very good center fielder. He can play a little more shallow in right field because of his speed and his ability to defend or go back on a ball.
Yachty, a 2-time Gold Glover. And this year in this spot, he's hitting .320 with 12 RBIs. Molina into center. That will carry to Maven. Cardinals strand 2, but they get on the board. We played 1 here at Busch Stadium. 2-out RBI again for Freese, and it's 2-1. in Bacon.
What was your comment about that?
I did ask the gentleman if anybody had fallen over. But apparently there's been no injuries.
Oh, by the way, I parked your car down on the arch.
Thanks
down by the arch there, you know.
Cameron Mabin, 2 for 5 with a home run. Couple runs scored last night. Fastball catches the corner, 2-1.
I said he could get it washed for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said he'd wash it for you, man.
Took it to the extreme.
Yeah.
But there have been a lot of folks. Flooding has been such a concern, and our thoughts and prayers with all those families suffering through that. Many in our viewing area. Brendan Ryan with it. Makes the play. With the rain last night, and they had the tarp off about an hour and a half before the first pitch today. Got a feeling that infield is probably fairly quick and a little bit soggy too. Combination of the both.
You remember when the old Busch Stadium or Busch Stadium 2 had the artificial surface, and they said because the Cardinals are such a great draw from 8 states that they really, you know, wanted to make sure they wouldn't have any rainouts because people would travel distances to get to a game. Well, with these new fields and the drainage systems they have,
base hit.
You can almost have 8 inches of rain even with the grass surface, and it just drains right through because of the sand base and the very extensive root system.
Time again for the Cardinals Alumni Kids Clinics. Boys and girls ages 7 to 13 can learn baseball fundamentals from former Cardinal greats like Rick Horton, Kerry Robinson, and John Mabry. These and other former Cardinals conducting one-day clinics this summer at St. Louis area ball fields. Just head to cardinals.com/clinics. It's more of the wetness on top of the grass that you get concerned about as Wainwright field this, and Robertson sacrifices 2 outs. The ball would skip a little bit.
Yeah, it does speed it up, the skip. And then a little simple play like that. When you come charging down the mound, you got to make sure your feet are out underneath you, and you don't want to be too quick and slip on the grass. You see, got the bat well out in front. Made contact with the ball, and a soft hands deadens it.
And now Coughlin, who doubled off the top of the wall to start the game, came around to score. RBI by Hanley Ramirez on an 0-2 pitch. 2 outs, runner at second. And there's a strike. One pitch. And we're talking about David Freese and his consecutive games played streak. The man still holds the Cardinals franchise record, 895. Comes from April 15th of 1952 to August 22nd of 57, which was a former National League record. Stan the man. The 2-1 pitch to Coughlin. Way out in front.
This little curve ball, and Coughlin's eyes lit up, jumped out at it. Still couldn't wait.
Ooh, good pitch. Doesn't get the call.
Cutter coming in on his hands. 3-2 pitch here.
And a foul ball.
already 44 pitches thrown by Wainwright. Nice.
That was the problem last night for Garcia. Had the strikeouts, but also mixed in walks, and it just seemed like every bat went deeper and deeper into the count.
2 5-shutout innings, but he stranded 9, so he was constantly in trouble.
3-2 pitch and a strikeout for Adam Wainwright. His third of the afternoon. Marlins strand a runner, and Joe Mather leads it off when we come back. Midwest.com to chat live with Fox Sports Midwest announcers and our Cardinals experts. Get in-depth analysis of the game in a new way. Our Cardinals live chat. Join us right now at FoxSportsMidwest.com. It's a neat shot right there, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Here's Joe Mather. He'll lead it off. Mather, Ryan, and Wainwright. 7, 8, 9 for the Cardinals. Joe trying to bunt his way on. He's got good speed for a big man, but he's thrown out. Trying anything to try to get on.
Just deadened it a little bit too much.
Here's Brendan Ryan. What do you think, Al? The pressure off Brendan now with the return of Felipe Lopez?
Barely. Until he gets a hit or two, he's in a 1 for 30 hitting slump. Went through that phase of making all the errors. Got away from the game for a couple days as Felipe was activated on Monday and get a chance to play shortstop. But until he does something positive, he's still going to be a piano he's carrying around on his shoulders.
2 balls, no strikes. Of course, last time we saw him, he was picked off, and then Ludwig hit the home run to win the game for the Cardinals.
I thought Tony went out of his way to protect Brendan in his post-game comments after that pickoff.
The 2-1.
There you go.
Base hit into right. Take a look at our Fox tracks following the base hit for Brendan Ryan. This is presented by Southwest Airlines.
It's out of the strike zone, but still, he puts a good swing on it. Instead of falling over himself or his weight totally off balance, just a little bit. And he hit it hard to the right side, and maybe he can build off of that.
Al, I must have missed those comments, but what did he say?
Basically said he did the right, somebody asked him, well, what did you say to him? He said, I put my arms around him and said, you didn't do anything wrong. You should have been picked off. He was running on the pitch, and the guy's got a good move, so, I never heard an explanation like that, so I would just put it in. He was being very kind and making sure nobody was misconstrue that he was mad at him or angry at him. It was another page in protecting your players.
Last sacrifice last year for Adam Wainwright. We've seen Tony in this spot have the pitcher show bunt and then pull back, especially with a guy like Adam.
Especially if the defense is so aggressive.
Good bunt. Robertson only plays to first. You can see maybe the slick ground. He just never had good footing, never looked comfortable, and then he threw a dart. He let it fly.
And he couldn't wait to throw that ball out. When he first picked it up, watching, he doesn't get a grip. He slips on it, and then his footwork is all messed up. And then he tried to, pinpoint it over there once he was almost losing his balance.
Felipe Lopez could tie it up. Runner in scoring position. Good speed out there. Brendan Ryan. Lopez singled and scored back in the first. 2-1 game as we play in the Cardinals half of the second.
Robertson has walked one today. That was back in the first inning, Ludwig, but it was his 20th walk in 43 innings.
Inside, and it's 3-0. Ryan Ludwig on deck. Nice crowd on hand for a day that is 61 degrees at the start of our ball game. And raining.
And the forecast, as we were not supposed to see this window. So one thing you do is commend this crowd.
3-1 pitch. Make it 3-2. Lopez to start at second base. Schumacher with the afternoon off with the lefty on the mound. Ooh, he walked him as he takes ball 4. Robertson, his second walk in 2 innings.
Pretty close pitch right there. 2 strikes. Surprised that he wasn't protecting the plate and got away with it as he walks.
So 2 outs, 2 on. Mather the start in center. We've seen Ludwig do that a couple of times this year, but he's in his customary spot of right field. Walked his first time up and hitting .367 with runners in scoring position. Brendan Ryan off with a pitch and a foul ball. 0-2. Never make that third out over at third base. Better be safe if you're stealing.
In my mind, there's hope for him because when a guy's going through the problems that Brendan, most of the time they're going to be so afraid to make a mistake. And so if you're still going to gamble a little bit, you're not playing scared.
Here's a 1-2. In the dirt, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Matt Holliday on deck. Brendan Ryan with a single. Walk to Lopez. So Mather tried to bunt his way on to start the inning. That was the first out. Wainwright to sacrifice. Here's a 2-2. And a broken bat. Look at that. Jorge Cantu made sure he got out of the way. Can't say I blame him.
Some of these bats today that are so top heavy.
That's a combination of the maple and, as you mentioned, the top heavy bats.
Very thin handles. There's There's not a balanced weight. Used to be, you would think in terms your ounces and your inches. Really wanted to be very close.
That's a base hit inside the first base line. Ryan will tie it up. Lopez being held up at third. It's an RBI double. Ryan Ludwig were tied up at 2-2. And Ludwig now with 17 driven in. And the runs today for the Cardinals coming with 2 outs.
You love 2-out base hits. The opposition thinks they're 1 pitch from getting out. Here you see this ball right inside the first baseline down the corner. Ross cuts it off. Inside out stroke. That ball's in on his hands, but he uses those hands to push it to the right side.
Well, Holliday needs something positive here, doesn't he?
Sure does. And, you know, when you're struggling, you seem like you always come up in these opportunities and you fail. But we all know it's a matter of time.
Will it get out of play? Strike one. Runners at second and third for Matt Holliday, who fly to left with a runner in scoring position his first time up. He's stranded 2. You saw the numbers there. He's hitting just .157 in this spot this year. Pretty shallow out there in left field. That's Chris Coughlin, second-year man. The next 2, Holliday. There you go. Into left, 2 runs will score. The monkey is off his back. 4-2 Cardinals. Double for Holliday.
Matt Holliday has had as many as 137 RBIs to lead the league. And there, the breaking ball down and in, just drops the bat head, hits it down in the corner. That was back in 07 when he led the league with a 340 average, led the league with 216 hits, 50 doubles, and 137 RBIs to lead the league.
Mentioned that Coughlin, the left fielder, was in, but it would have been very tough if he was back to make that catch. That was more towards the line. That'll find the seats out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike, a 4-2 Cardinals lead on 5 hits here in the first 2 innings, and all the runs have been scored with 2 outs.
Gonzalez, even Robertson thinks, you know, hey, I'm just 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning without any runs scored, and then all of a sudden you find there's 3 on the board.
I'm sure you agree with me. If you're defending Pujols for as much as we've seen him in his career, sprays the ball everywhere, and they shade him even more so to the opposite field. That creates that big gap in left center.
I wouldn't do it.
Just play him straight up.
Yes. Him straight up because he can hit the ball to all fields.
But this is one of the times out we've actually seen a pitcher pitch him away when you shade him to the opposite
that was
field.
what I was going to say, that, you know, it makes sense if you pitch him one way, but you pitch him one way, he's going to burn you too. Stay in one location constantly. I think right there they were pretty well content. Albert was going to have to get himself out. They weren't going to help him by throwing him that fat strike.
After the sacrifice by Wainwright, it's been a walk by Lopez as he took a borderline 3-2 pitch. And you see the home batting average of David Freese at 406. Ethier is on the DL. He's at 453. Pujols at 377. So 2 Cardinals in the top 5. So Lopez took that borderline pitch. Then Ludwig, the base hit inside the first base line. Holliday, the double. And Pujols, the walk. Runners at first and second for Freese. That's updated now. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. He's hitting .364.
The Cardinals on the board with an RBI single back in the first.
And Maben, the center fielder, hasn't moved. I can understand that with Freese, but maybe not so much with Pujols.
Correct.
Into shallow right. Should be caught. Cody Ross makes the catch. Cardinals strand 2. They have stranded 4, but they pick up 3, and it's a 4-2 Cardinals lead. his third inning. That means Jim Hayes time. He's been kind enough to join us here in the booth. Wainwright pitching for the first time with a lead. It's 4-2. Now Raboski here, Dan McLaughlin. This is Gabby Sanchez. And that pitch misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sanchez, Ramirez, and Cantu, 2, 3, and 4 for the Marlins in their half of the third. That's hammered out to deep left. Holiday back, though, with room to make the catch. We saw Holiday come through with his 2 RBIs with 2 outs, and all the runs for the Cardinals today have been scored with 2. And maybe a key, Jim, in that Cardinals half of the second was Brendan Ryan. It gets a start today. I know you had a chance to visit with him, the Cardinals shortstop. Singles, scores, and maybe that's something positive that he can build on.
Well, he had been out of the lineup this week, and I said, how do you look at today's start? And he said, I look at it as an opportunity. And I said, possibly a fresh start where you try to turn the page and wipe away the bad stuff. And he said, no, I do feel some pressure because I know if I don't go out there and play well, I'm not going to get a chance to start in the near future. So kind of a mixed bag for Brendan Ryan. I'm glad he came through with the base hit.
Yeah, we talked to John Mozeliak, and we've had a lot of fans ask us, hey, maybe should the Cardinals send him down to the minor leagues and get him straightened out? Good idea, but the only problem is he's out of options. So he would have to clear waivers, and you know that somebody out there would love to pick him up. Outstanding defensive player, so he's going nowhere, and he'll have to fight through it right here at the big leagues.
When a player's out of options, every time you come, at the beginning of the year, you're placed on the 40-man roster. You can go up and down as many times between the major leagues and the minor leagues. You only lose 1 option. But I believe it's after 3, you're out of options. So if you were to be sent down to the minor leagues, you would have to clear waivers, as Dan said, and he's too valuable for another club, and it goes from a descending order in the standing. So obviously the bottom feeders would find a guy like Brendan Ryan very attractive, and they would gobble him up. Cardinals would lose him.
He's a valuable property, and he remains confident. He was saying, I hit 292 last year, and it wasn't in a handful of at-bats. I know I can hit at this level. I have no answers as to why things haven't gone my way this year, but he feels like he can get back.
3-2 pitch to Ramirez. Ooh, he just missed. And a walk by Wainwright, and that's his second. Voting is now open for the 2010 All-Star Game. That'll be in Anaheim, and help send your favorite Cardinals players to this year's All-Star Game. You can vote up to 25 times at Cardinals.com. Now, you've been around this game a long time. If that happens in July, where he has the rut that he's in, instead of the very beginning of the year when you look up at the scoreboard and you're hitting, $160.
Yeah, you hope you were batting 280, 290, and then you tumble down to 260 and you build yourself back up.
Big difference, isn't it?
And when you talk about Brendan Ryan, and I mean this in the politest way, we all like Brendan very, very much.
Hard not to.
Yeah, he's a great young man, and we think he's very, very talented. But in the case of Brendan Ryan, in my mind, it's purely between his ears. He just, and that's because he cares and he wants to do better. But I mean, he just needs to just flat out relax, clear his mind, and just start all over.
And while Tony La Russa said the pickoff,
what a curveball there. Cantu, no argument. He was frozen, a knee buckler.
Nasty. The pickoff wasn't a mistake. Brendan said it was, and he still was feeling the pain.
Yeah, we were just talking about that last inning, and that's one of the better breaking balls that we've seen. Backed up on Wainwright a little bit, but he'll take it. Strikeout of Cantu, and his 4th of the day.
Tony trying to do everything he can to protect his players and try to, really build him up. And I had never heard doing your job getting picked off.
So 2 outs and a runner at first, 4-2 Cardinals. And here is Dan Uggla as a sacrifice fly. His RBI in the first made it 2-0, and now his club trailing 4-2.
And what Tony was saying, the guy has a very good pickoff move. He was running on the pitch, and because of that good move, that he almost had to cheat a little bit. And just the fact that he threw over to first base, he couldn't recover and get back. But if he didn't almost make that first move towards second base, he wasn't going to be safe in his steal attempt. Sounds like he shouldn't have run.
You see Brendan Ryan, he'll make a signal here now to Felipe Lopez. Open mouth, closed mouth. Explain to fans what he's doing here.
Well, it's going to tell who is covering. You know, with a possible throw down on a steal attempt, which the second baseman, shortstop, who's going to cover?
Strikeout of Hudla on the curveball. 5 today for Wainwright. Molina, Mather, Brendan Ryan coming up. It's 4-2. Yadier Molina leads it off, and it's 4-2 Cardinals. They're half of the third. Jim, I know one of the subjects you wanted to talk about was Jaime Garcia. And what did you take away from his start last night?
Didn't have his best stuff. Still posted zeros. Quite remarkable.
Here's a grounder to Ramirez. Hanley up with it. And there's one away. Don't miss the Eagles at Busch Stadium. That'll be June 24th. And field seats available for $99. 4 packs for $255. 6 packs for $198. All fees included in ticket prices.
With Jaime, even Tony La Russa said after the game, didn't have his best stuff. To go out there, throw 5 innings, scoreless baseball, and drop your ERA to 1.28, that says a lot about a young pitcher who's really having, at this point, a historic start to a season.
That sounds crazy when you say historic, but truly the numbers bear that out. He is off to one of the great starts of a left-hander in his rookie season. We talked about the ERA last night, Al. It came in just over 1. There's a liner and caught by Ugla. But he continues to throw well. Unfortunately for him, Jim, he just couldn't go deep into the game last night.
And he felt like he could have gone a little deeper, but as a young guy, he didn't want to say that. But if you read between the lines, threw 96 pitches last night. And I was impressed with what he said. Someone said, do you realize your ERA is now 1.28? And he said, I really don't care about that. My job, and we preach that in the starting rotation, you have to go deep. And he felt let down that he didn't go deep enough.
I thought Al brought up probably the best point. We forget that he is coming off a Tommy John. So, at times you don't want to, push him too much. He is coming off the surgery, and he has been great, and it's easy to do. I mean, you get lost in that fact that as a fan, and for us up here, we forget, but he is coming off the surgery.
First time in 8 starts that you really had to think in that way. And because he labored through those 5 innings, he only had 1 inning where it was 1, 2, 3. Stranded 9 runners, made the pitches when he had to make them. But he had 96 pitches, to go back out there, and the last thing you want to do is take him out of the middle of an inning. You know, you're talking about probably going to be in, 110 to 120 pitches, and and that's too much, just because he labored for so many innings.
There's the walk, and that's 4 this afternoon for Nate Robertson, and it brings up Wainwright. Fox Sports Midwest celebrates 5 years of service for the Pujols Family Foundation. Tune in Saturday, live coverage of the Cardinals special pregame ceremony, and watch an inspiring interview with Albert Pujols now at foxsportsmidwest.com.
To be kind of honest, that the way the starting pitching has been so effective, there were guys down the bullpen that could use that little extra work. They didn't come through, but I'm sure Hawksworth and even Boggs will be that much better off because they got the chance to stretch out, going a couple innings yesterday.
2-0 pitch. 2-1. We just saw that shot at Carpenter. That was great to see him stick through that game, and Ludwig gave him the win with his dramatic home run in the 8th, and then got Brendan Ryan off the hook and also Skip Schumacher too. Hit sharply to short, force play at second. Jim's going to stick around. We're going to talk about Adam Wainwright when we come back. It's 4-2 after 3. Ross, Mabin, and Hayes. Brett, that is. Jim is with us here in the booth. And Jim, I know one of the things that we were going to get into is Adam Wainwright and the fact that he did give up a couple of 2-out hits earlier, and also his last start in Cincinnati, he was frustrated over just a couple of pitches that really cost him the game because he pitched pretty well.
This guy is on a quest for perfection. Adam Wainwright is disappointed in himself if he doesn't come close to that. His last start, Cincinnati, 6 innings, 4 earned runs, broke a string of 12 consecutive quality starts. And in his conversation with producer Brad Straubinger, he said, that's unacceptable. Now, most guys would say, not my best day. He said, unacceptable.
2-1 pitch. He wants to do everything, though. Hit, pitch, field his position. He won the Gold Glove last year, as we saw, and he has committed an error this year. Sunday night against New York, but that's been it.
What do you think the difference is between a good major leaguer and a superstar?
Never satisfied.
It's the mental aspect.
I was going to say about $7 million a year.
That's why you're not a good negotiator. It's a little light.
His career when getting 4 or more runs of support, 41-3. 41-3 for Adam Wainwright. The Cardinals leading right now 4-2.
Dan, you're absolutely right. You know, it's just that you demand so much more of you. You really are your biggest critic. You look in there and everybody's patting you on the back because you did something. You go, no, I got away with a bad pitch. I should have lost that game. That guy should have crushed that ball. Where everyone else is patting you on the back because the guy popped it up or swung and missed. You go out there and you know this game's tough, but you challenge it. And every day you try to get better.
It's slowly hit. Wainwright, Gold Glover, plays the play.
You guys always talk about this game being based on failure. You're not going to have success a majority of the time. Adam Wainwright's a mentally tough guy because he sets the bar so high and he still reaches for it.
This Sunday, it's North Star Family Day and the ice cream. And join us for music, fun, games, and don't forget the free ice cream while supplies last. And it's North Star Ice Cream Sundays. That'll be this weekend against the Angels.
But think about it. You set the bar that high, and of course you're not always going to achieve your goal. You got to be able to deal with it and go out there next time and try again. Wainwright's tough.
He talked about when he finally had made the club, and then he was in the bullpen in 06. He had just made the decision that offseason, mentally, physically. He was ready to be a big leaguer. And then, I mean, just think about the confidence of closing out the 3 different levels of postseason play, including the World Series. I mean, if you don't know you belong then, you never will.
If you can't have fun under those circumstances. You know, some people are terrified of being on the big stage, and other people just embrace it.
1-2 pitch with 2 outs. And a strikeout, 2 in the inning. 7 this afternoon for Wainwright through 4 innings. Jim, we'll see you on the postgame.
See you.
4-2 St. Louis. Curveball from Adam Wainwright. Now, what have you seen today?
Well, you watch the curveball grip. Now he pulls down on it. But you can even listen. You can hear the snap of the fingers. Did you hear it?
Oh, yeah. Even up here.
Getting on top of that pitch. You know, one way to describe it is, say, you know, pulling down on a lampshade. Or pulling down on You know, just getting on top of it, get that rotation. You have the grip off to the side. Now, good hitters will say they see your arm cocked that way and say, "Oh, curveball."
So liner into right. Remember the index finger that Wainwright has many times?
Opposite finger off the ball.
First time that Felipe has been retired, as Wainwright is cleaning his cleats. Can't see it on your television screen, but it is a light rain here at the ballpark, very light.
Should clear it up a little bit from where it was earlier.
Ludwig with a walk, 2-out RBI base hit. Double, run scored, hits it out of play. Holiday with 2 outs. They had the double with 2 RBIs in the second inning. It's added up to a 4-2 lead. Sharply hit but foul.
Three-game hitting streak for Luddy. On the homestand, he is 3 for 11. But his average pushing 300 again.
Hit sharply to third. Up with it, Jorge Cantu. A low throw to Sanchez. There's 2 outs. We turn to our this date in baseball history. Cardinals catcher Mike Matheny establishes a major league record with 1,295 chances without an error. May 20th of 04, this date in history presented by Schnucks. And Mike is in the Cardinals organization, roving and helping out with many of the minor leaguers. Also did some work for us in the offseason here on Fox Sports Midwest. One ball, one strike. Albert Pujols on deck, 2 balls and a strike with 2 outs and nobody on. Holiday came up with runners at first and second in the first, flied out to left, and then with runners at second and third, 2 outs, delivered the double. Shoots this one into deep right center. Over to get it though, Ross. One of the great guys in our community, an outstanding defensive player, Mike Matheny.
About 2 hours. Thank you, St. Louis native.
You're welcome. 4-2 St. Louis as we move to the 5th.
The guy from Illinois has to tell me.
It's Tim Garcia up here in the booth. And Tim is, a moment's notice, ready to help out with anything that we may need up here. It's when we can find him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here on Nate Robertson. Robertson is sacrificed. Robertson, then Coughlin and Sanchez. 4-2 Cardinals. How about Wainwright? He has settled in after a shaky first.
There he is. Mr. At the ready.
A 3-1 pitch. 3-2. Pitch count at 79 for Wainwright. Good play here in the top of the 5th. Cardinals trying to salvage a game of this 2-game series. Grounder. Ryan diving for it. No play. And a base hit for Nate Robertson. It's their first hit since back in the 2nd. Be sure to visit Bush Bash prior to every Friday home game. And tomorrow night, it's Brian Jordan. Brian Jordan will be out there signing autographs in the Ford Plaza. Visit Cardinals.com and click on promotions to find out more. And Brian Jordan will be with us in the 3rd inning tomorrow up here in the booth. So base hit for Robertson, their first base runner since a walk to Hanley Ramirez in the 3rd. Double play ball. Out at second. Out at first. Hit hard enough off the bat of Coughlin, who can run for the Cardinals to turn 2. 6-4-3.
See that little bouncer right here. Brendan comes in, shovel pass to Felipe.
You talk to guys up the middle, and there is an art to having a symmetry with the guy that you're playing with up the middle.
Very true. And a lot of that preparation, workout before the game, the infield practice they do before they even start batting practice, allows you to be comfortable with the mannerisms and get the feeling of how your counterpart wants to receive the ball, how to feed him, lead him.
They work endlessly on it. That's Jose Kendo and Joe Patini doing that.
One of the nice things too, Dan, is every day when you'll see that before batting practice, you'll see a couple of the outfielders will be in there, but Molina frequently is taking ground balls. LaRue, guys would be just trying to make a little fun out of it.
Brendan Ryan up with it and makes the play. Leadoff single erased on the double play. Pujols coming up. Trivia question: who are the only 4 Dominican-born players to win the National League batting title? You know, Pujols has done it. That was in 03. Most recently, Handler Ramirez, Rico Carty, and Alou. Rico Carty.
Remember Rico?
Oh, yeah. As Pujols takes a ball low. 2009 voting for the MVP. All infielders in the National League. Pujols hits it down the left field line. Fair ball into the corner. And Albert has extra bases. Leadoff double to start the 5th.
Dan, when I asked Billy Williams about Pujols, and I said, you know, who does he remind you of? He said Rico Carty. And then I talked him out of it. I said, no. I said, Rico was a good hitter, but I mean, not Albert.
Take a look at a pitch location presented by Chrysler.
Breaking balls, just stays up in the middle of the plate, hammered down the corner. You know, Rico was a guy that, you know, for a big man, he was a very good 2-strike hitter, but he really became a punch and Judy with 2 strikes. I mean, he really choke up. He just tried to punch the ball to right field. He was a right-handed hitter, and just, you know, wanted to make contact. And the old school where you didn't strike out a lot, but nowhere near the hitter that Albert is.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to David Freese. Matty Alou was on that list as well.
Matty Alou played with him with the Cardinals in the early 70s. He was a very good pinch hitter at that time, but Harry the Hat Walker, Matty was probably his finest example, and Harry the Hat would teach pop and glide. And just, that was fine for Matty Alou, a diminutive guy that really had no power, but when he tried to teach Big John Mabry pop and glide when he was with Houston, it didn't quite work. And they traded John over to Kansas City and became one of the best power hitters in the American League. But they had one way of teaching and really didn't really want to, take in consideration maybe a guy's a power hitter.
Freeze into right, and the catch will be made. Ross is there for the first out. Remember when Pujols won his batting championship? It was in 2003. And we were in Arizona. We had to wait to see what would happen with Todd Helton. You see Pujols wearing a brace around that left wrist when he's running the bases. 1 out, the runner at second. We have not seen that before. What's on tap? Presented by Budweiser. Angels tomorrow. And the start of interleague play. We'll see Joel Pinheiro and Brad Penny. Pinheiro's coming off a complete game.
Can they have stats for everybody and everything right now? But I'm shocked that our truck has not picked up on one of Molina's stats. Where on Monday, Molina stole his 18th career base. That ties for 16th all-time with the Cardinals with Tom Pagnozzi.
16th all-time? How about catchers?
It says tied for 16th. St. Louis all-time. How would you keep? Who keeps 16th place?
Accentuating the positive here, Al, that Molina's now in the top 20 and he's tied for 16th.
Pagnozzi and Molina are tied for the single season record, along with McCarver, for 9 stolen bases in a season.
2-2. Runner at second, Pujols. He's running and the pitch has popped up, so he'll retreat back to third. Can they make this play? Who wants it? It is caught. Tony Ross making the catch. So Cody Ross making that catch in right field. And you can see Ugla and Sanchez right there.
Well, the ball popped up. You know, Molina's a little disappointed, but dropped the bat. Get down to first. This ball's almost dropped.
Pujols was running on the pitch, so he had to get back to second, and now it's Joe Mather, the center fielder, 2 outs runner at second base. 4-2 St. Louis. All the runs today for the Cardinals scored with 2 outs. Mather tried to bunt his way on first time up, and he is also lined out to second. Cubs and Phillies tied up 4-4. That's in the bottom of the 8th. Top of the 7th, the Reds leading Atlanta 9-3. So the Cardinals trying to keep pace with Cincinnati. Got to pay attention when you come to the ballpark. I don't care how old you are, Al.
I'm paying attention.
It's debatable. 1-2. He's getting fired up.
It's a cheerleader in the future, right? He's having fun.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Mather, and going out, Ugla makes the catch, and we are through 5 here in St. Louis on a cool afternoon. It's 4-2. Top of the 6th. And Wainwright back to work. Adam with 7 strikeouts today. First pitch, ground ball to second. Felipe Lopez with it. Ramirez retired. And the Ramirez retired for the first time. And baseball today is brought to you by Lumiere Casino. Your next home could be on the house. River City Casino and Lumiere Place Casino and Hotels is giving away a $250,000 home plus 18 room makeovers now through July 2nd. Visit rivercity.com for details. And by AT&T, find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Strike at the knees to Jorge Cantu, and this is one of those innings. If you're Adam Wainwright, you're facing 3, 4, and 5 and just trying to get over the hump, go deep into this game.
Ramirez swinging at the first pitch has really helped out as Adam's starting to settle down and stretch out.
2 balls and a strike.
He threw about 45 pitches through the first 2 innings, and now he'll be making his 90th pitch.
And a ground ball to short, deep in the hole. Strong throw, Brendan Ryan. 2 outs. Good to see. More over the top with this throw, too. We've seen him throw from the side an awful lot this year.
Yep. Deep on the grass. Ball's wet, but gets up on top and throws him out with several steps to spare.
Now Dan Ugla, who has an RBI. He's also struck out. Hit a long home run over the bullpen and left the Florida Marlins here at Busch Stadium last night. Tremendous power. He's hit 5 home runs in the last 6 games. And those 11 home runs that he has coming into play today, tied with Andre Ethier. Kelly Johnson with 12. Marlins have never had a player lead the National League in home runs for a season. The club record was Gary Sheffield. He had 42 back in 1996. It's the only time a Marlin has had 40 or more home runs. Florida will head to Chicago after this ball game, not to face the Cubs. They've already done that, but they'll face the White Sox. Cardinals get the Angels and Joel Pinheiro. After the game, Cardinals Live is broadcasting from the Aqua Bar at Lumiere Place Casino. Watch player interviews, the ever-popular Tony La Russa press conference, plus Pat Barris and Rick Horton will break down the game. If we can pull Pat away from his computer as he is logging as we speak. He's got the Patrick that he needs to keep up with, and also his interactive chat. Backing up, Ryan flips to Lopez, and we're through the top of the 6th. Marlins had stranded 4, and it's 4-2. Food to get to the ballpark, and 55% say the old-fashioned hot dog here at the ballpark. Here in St. Louis, so many choices here at the new ballpark, which opened back in '06. Here's Brendan Ryan in his return to the starting lineup. Ryan has singled and scored, also walked back in the 3rd. Showing bunt, looks at a strike. Nate Robertson pitching into the bottom of the 6th.
Has kept his team right in this ball game.
Little chopper and handled there by Cantu, who's playing in. One away. Take a look at the Fox tracks presented by Chrysler, and Brendan Ryan appeared to be swinging at a strike. Let's take a look. And he was.
Like he's well off the plate, so that's a pretty good pitch in the middle to him. But little tapper to the left side. Roberts be making his 100th pitch.
And Wainwright hits it in the air out to shallow left, backing up. Hanley Ramirez quickly 2 down.
So all the scoring in this ball game really happened in the first 2 innings. Both these pitchers settled in.
See an infielder's glove, and many times very, very small, and that's the case there with Hanley Ramirez. Tiny glove. They're able to get into that glove, get the ball, and get it out quickly.
That's it. An outfielder, you may want a longer glove for the reach, but an infielder, you want to be able to reach into the glove and get all baseball.
Al has an affinity for anybody that wears number 39, like Nate Robertson. Here's a Chrysler Fox Tracks. Strike. 1-2. Just talking with Matt Vasgersian of MLB Network, Al, and he's a huge fan of yours. Watches you every night.
Okay, what's the joke?
No, there is no joke. He told me over the weekend he enjoys your work. You see the highlights on MLB Network every night. And many times Matt is anchoring at night.
What was the show he used to do?
Sports Geniuses.
Sports Geniuses.
2-2. And a ground ball that's hit to second. And Lopez is down. The Cardinals go in order. And that sends us to the 7th. It's 4-2. Allowed just 4 base hits. It was a shaky first inning, and that's been it. He has been very solid ever since. Cameron Maben, the 7th place hitter.
Big inning right here. You got the 7, 8, 9 spots. So hopefully a efficient inning, as he's going to be over 100 pitches this inning.
1 ball, 1 strike, and we're underway. We're in the top of the 7th. 4-2 Cardinals. Pitch that was up. Maben swings through it. And Maben today twice is grounded out. So pitch counted an even 100. Robertson at 105. They've got activity out there. A lefty getting loose in the bullpen.
Pinto is the lefty their bullpen is. The pitcher spots due up a third.
A cool rainy day here in St. Louis. On the inside corner, strikeout number 8. Painted to black. And that's how we start the 7th. Let's go pitch by pitch, presented by Chevrolet.
Starts him out with a breaking ball out there. Then he'll throw a fastball just down on the black, up and in with another fastball. There's a breaking ball off the plate, and then he freezes him on the fastball down and in. 8 strikeouts for Wainwright. He's walked 3.
And there's a line drive base hit out to left. Holiday over to get it. Tiptoeing to the ball with that wet grass and throws a strike into second base. Coming up Friday night, it's the Bob Gibson replica statue night here at Busch Stadium. And there still are good seats available tomorrow night. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com. Joel Pinheiro will make that start for the Angels. Brad Penny for the Cardinals. And it's the statue that is the replica from the one outside Busch Stadium in the Plaza of Champions.
Ryan Peterson is going to pinch hit here for Robertson. And Molina won't come out and talk to him. Peterson recalled on May 15th when John Baker went on the DL. Began the season at AAA, did Peterson. Hit 290 there. He's about a 290, 287 career hitter in 335 major league games.
You see this year just 1 for 13, so he hits from the left side. The Cardinals have turned a double play. It was 6-4-3 off the bat of Coughlin, who could move from the left side down the line. It was a hard hit ball. So David Freese playing in over at third, Pujols holding at first. No activity in the Cardinals bullpen. And what could be the final inning of work here for Adam Wainwright. We saw that the other night against Washington. Chris Carpenter was left deep into the game, and it paid off as he got the win.
Now, you know that he's usually going to give you 7 innings at least. And his pitch count's going to be where it is right now.
They get the lead man and save it first. And Lopez hits the lead runner at second base.
He has to go a few steps here, set himself, get the lead man right there, and really no chance for the double play. The real key is for that second baseman, does he have the confidence to get the lead man?
Now Coughlin doubled and scored the first on an RBI by Hanley Ramirez. He struck out swinging in the second, rounded into a 6-4-3 double play. 1 for 3 this afternoon. 2 outs, runner at first. First pitch is strike. You ask any of these guys, they always say, I want to stay in, I want to go deep into a game, and Wainwright at 105 in his pitch count.
Winners feel that way. The guy just playing for statistics goes, oh, I've done my job. And they shoot for that quality start, which is a stat that was an artificial stat that was created for arbitration.
1-1 pitch. Took something off it. Strike 2. That pitch at 74 miles an hour. With Wainwright, you have to gear up for a fastball that's 92, 93. And then he has that tremendous curveball that'll throw at a couple of different speeds, and that one in the low 70s.
And he'll come with a cutter, which will come in on the right-handed batter, thrown in the 80s.
Base hit. So in 1 and 2, Coughlin extends it to Gabby Sanchez with 2 outs. This season, it's easier than ever to find the seats you want or sell tickets to the games you can't make on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. You'll find great seats, great service on StubHub all season. So head to StubHub.com and choose your seats today. Sanchez with 4 home runs this year, and this afternoon he's grounded out, flied out, and walked and scored in the first.
With a couple hits here in this inning, you really get the feeling that this will definitely be his final inning of work. You just want to make sure Adam gets through it, still with a 2-run lead. So Kyle McClellan just made his way to the mound and make his first toss.
McClellan has been more of the 8th inning guy lately, trying to bridge the gap to Franklin. Line drive caught. Lopez has it. Marlins strand 2. They've stranded 6 in the game. It's time to stretch. Ludwig, Holiday, Pujols coming up. Run. Jay Palm qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit Dean Team Hyundai or St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. So good luck to Jay Palm. Our Chevy called to the bullpen, and the Marlins bring in their lefty. And he'll get Ludwig, Holiday, and Pujols here in the Cardinals half of the 7th.
Pinto coming in this ball game. He's a big Johnny Cash fan, as he posted career highs in wins, games, walks, strikeouts last season. One of the interesting things, as you see Wainwright talking with Dave Duncan, and McClellan continues to throw, so Adam stays through. He's not satisfied, but still a very good outing for Adam. 7 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits. And Pinto, a left-hander, lefties are batting .389 against him. Righties .143.
Odd to see that, isn't it?
Sure is. You probably didn't know that about Mr. Pinto and his, how much of a Johnny Cash fan that he is.
Loves the man in black, huh?
Yeah.
That's pulled foul, 0-2.
Used to be a Cub farmhand, and so, I mean, because of his loves the man in black, he wanted a black uniform to wear.
And here he is with the Marlins. Cheese. You got to fix your hair, Al. One-two pitch.
Check your makeup.
I understand you're a Kenny Rogers fan.
No, I'm Kenny's father.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. And a strikeout of Ludwig. And Ludwig retired for the 2nd time.
At Holiday with big blow in this game, a 2-run double back in the Cardinals' 3-run the second. Good to see Matt get a couple RBIs, especially at home. He's coming through with runners in scoring position, something he needed.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to the Cardinal left fielder. Rips it into left center. Extra bases for Holiday. One hops off the wall. His second double.
Again, probably got choices would be our Hardy's prime cut. I think the first one was a little more meaningful. His first double. Hardy's prime cut of the game was the 2-run double back in the second inning. Now this pitch that put him out there in second base here in the seventh inning.
Here's Pujols. Eight home runs and close to 30 RBIs for Pujols. He's walked today, also doubled. 1-0 pitch. Holiday is running, throw down to third, and he's safe. Head first slide and in there.
Took a chance there and got away with it. Of course, Albert is a big body in front of the catcher, and Pinto didn't take a look at him. You can see Hayes gets rid of that ball pretty quickly. Just a high throw allowed him to get underneath the tag.
Very close.
Very close. And with Albert hitting, you almost really want to walk over there, not take this RBI chance away from him.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. This is in. 2-1. On the air tomorrow night, 6:30. Angels here. Interleague play.
Pinto, a big guy, 6'4", 280.
McClellan is loose now in the bullpen. The 2-1 pitch to Pujols. On its way. Shallow center. Maben a long way to go. Makes the catch, and Holiday has to stay put at third. That's the second time today that Pujols has had a runner at third. Less than 2 outs and has not been able to bring him in. And it's up to the 2-out RBI machine, David Freese.
He delivered back in the first inning, plating the first Cardinal run, but as we mentioned that stat, he's 1 for 3 with that RBI back in the first, and 20 of his 26 RBIs have come in his first plate appearance. Gibson, our home plate umpire, is signaling that the catcher's the one that called timeout.
And Freese hits it out to deep right, but that'll stay in the ballpark. Ross backs up, makes the catch, and we played 7 here at Busch. Back with more in a moment. And it's 4-2 St. Louis from Busch Stadium. That's it for Adam Wainwright. It's up to the bullpen. It's our Chevy call to the pen. And Kyle McClellan steps in for St. Louis.
Kyle picked up his 5th hold his last time out. It was appearing for the 16th time now. ERA just at 2. He's got 4 holds. Basically a strikeout per inning.
And the first pitch to Ramirez is strike. So McClellan comes in. He'll get 3, 4, and 5. And the Ramirez, Jorge Cantu, and Dan Ugla. A liner caught. Big out there. That first one, and then to get Ramirez.
You really have to concentrate. Get that first man out. If you get the first man out of the inning, it's very difficult to get a single run, let alone a crooked number up there. And you just get the first guy, all your concentration goes to the next guy. Good pitching matchup, former Cardinal Pinheiro against Brad Penny.
Here's Jorge Cantu. He has struck out twice and also grounded out to short. One thing about McClellan that you love is his aggressiveness, Al, especially with the fastball. He'll challenge these hitters.
He's got good stuff, so there's no reason why he should back off. And he's gained a lot of confidence, been very reliable the last 3 years for Tony. I get Brad Penny back on the winning ways. He's lost 4 straight games, but really his last one was only the first time he had a bad outing all season. There's the curveball, a real good pitch for him.
Check swing. Did he go? No. 2-2.
So that curveball, a couple different speeds. Fastball away.
The 2-2 pitch struck him out. Cantu strikes out for the 3rd time. And now the Marlins have struck out 9 times today, 8 of those thanks to Adam Wainwright.
See, so many times when Molino put that fastball away, the ball ends up on the inner part of the plate, but good movement. And Cantu, a good hitter, can't catch up to it.
Ugla with an RBI back in the 1st on a sac fly, his 28th. Also struck out swinging and walked. First pitch right down the middle for a strike. One pitch. Out of play. 1-2. So McClellan a strike away from having a 1-2-3 8th inning against the Marlins. And really the big point in this game in so many ways, the Holiday 2-out double maybe gets him going with runners in scoring position, and obviously a big hit in this particular ballgame. Struck him out. Good work by McClellan. 2 Ks in the inning sends us to the bottom of the 8th. for details. And by Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. Bottom of the 8th rolls in. Yadier Molina, Joe Mather, and Brendan Ryan. Been waiting for the hard rain to come. It hasn't yet. And we're going to get this ball game in.
Absolutely. And hopefully a Cardinal victory. Split the 2-game series. Cincinnati on the verge of winning their game, so the Cardinals need to win to stay a half game back.
1-0 pitch. Pinto is second inning of work. 2 balls, no strikes. Molina fly to center, fly to right, also grounded out to short. Cardinals have Schumacher and Colby Rasmus on the bench today. So Mather, who's on deck, made the start in center field. And Lopez shifted from short to second, showing his value to the club this year. The 3-0 to Yadi. 3-1.
They've been getting a lot of playing time every day since he's come off the disabled list. First 3 at shortstop, today at second.
There's a base hit up the middle for Molina. With Felipe Lopez signed, a lot of teams passed on him, and he really just fell into the Cardinals' laps. And at the time, we both felt that the Cardinals needed a little insurance, either at third, short, or second. And one of the reasons that he signed with the Cardinals, 2 reasons really, he said this team has a chance to win, and knowing how Tony uses his bench, he was going to get a chance to play, and I'm not sure he bargained for as much as he might get this year.
Oh, I think he did. I think he enjoys playing, and you know, maybe his asking price early in the free agent period was too high, but when the Cardinals get him for $1 million, that's a steal.
He has a 1-step lead over there, Yadier Molina.
Sometimes you can time it perfectly, and as a guy's taking that 1 step, as momentum's moving towards second, you time the throw, you get it over there, and even with that 1 step, you can throw him out. But, you know, he is leading the team in stolen bases.
Brendan Ryan has a base hit to right today. And he's on deck. Mather tried to bunt his way on. He's also lined out and popped out to second. Third baseman playing in. That's Jorge Cantu. And it looked like Mather was ready to show bunt. He does, and bunts it foul. 0-2. Situation here with Mather, if you do bunt, Al, it's going to be a very good bunt because they're holding Molina closely at first.
Well, that's the reason why you hold him close, is because it takes nearly a perfect bunt to get him down to second in scoring position.
He's been leading the charge, that little guy. Still cheering. Here's the 0-2 pitch.
Be a former Billiken or Mizzou cheerleader, right?
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Future.
I don't think he wants to be a former. He's pretty young to be in school. Taken low, 2-2.
About the hit and run now.
Why not? The only problem is
in Molina's speed, you do a run and hit.
You get concerned that Mather would swing and miss. He has struck out.
He has a big swing, so there's
a number of times this year.
He does swing and miss.
We have not seen Franklin up and throwing. Unless he's been up and now has sat down. It'll take a few more tosses before the inning is through.
Yeah, with nobody out, he got up and now he'll wait maybe an hour or so. Atlanta's trying to make things difficult for the Reds. Started out 9-3 in the bottom of the ninth. Now it's 9-5. Runners at the corners and nobody out. Cubbies are trying to come back in the top of the ninth. They trail Philly by 1 run. They have 1 out. Runners at first and third.
Two pitch to Mather. And Joe hits it out to deep center. Maben back with room to make the catch. Molina back to first. And Joe Mather today 0 for 4. Brings in Brendan Ryan, who singled and scored in the second inning. Walked in the third and grounded out to third in the sixth. They've had a right-hander throwing in their bullpen.
Randy St. Clair out to talk to his lefty is Ryan Sanchez, a right-hander, warming up.
Pinto from Venezuela. And came up with Florida back in 06. Went 2-4 in 2007. 2-5 in 08. Last year 4-1. He made 73 appearances.
He was in the Cubs minor league organization.
He was acquired with Sergio Mitre and Ricky Velasco in exchange for Juan Pierre. He was back in 2005.
Another good trade right there. Stavinoa's on deck behind Brendan Ryan.
Crowd today of 37,861. Another check on Molina. 37861. And a strike on the outside corner. A few things to look at from positives today. From a positive perspective, Brendan Ryan making the start, no errors, on base twice with an opposite field base hit, run scored, and then, as we talked about, the Holiday 2-out double to score 2. It's added up to a 4-2 lead. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. And for Brendan, he was looking for anything positive in getting that start this afternoon.
I wonder right here why he's taking 2 fastballs in the strike zone. You want to go up there looking for the fastball. Especially when you're kind of caught in between, really struggling.
Brendan pops it up. Shallow left. Ramirez is called off by the left fielder. That's Coughlin who makes the catch. 2 outs, and it brings in the pinch hitter, Nick Stavanoa. He'll pitch hit for Cal McClellan. And one of the other positives to talk about, too, is the start of Adam Wainwright. 7 innings, 8 strikeouts. And we'll have a pitching change here. Right-hander Sanchez coming in to replace Pinto. Nick Stavanoa due up when we come back. Found a home as a pinch hitter for the Cardinals this year.
And it sure has. Last season, Sanchez started out a season with a 25-plus scoreless inning streak. That'll help your season out if you're a reliever.
Stavanoa played in 111 games between Memphis and the Cardinals last year. 34 games at first base. He had 32 at catcher at Memphis and 23 in the outfield in St. Louis. So some versatility here with number 34. Two outs, runner at first.
They got Brian Sanchez, Sanches, Hannibal Sanchez, last night's starter, and then Gabby Sanchez, the first baseman.
Molina's biggest lead has been about 2 steps. And Stavanoa pops it a mile high on the infield. Handler Ramirez there, and that sends us to the ninth. Franklin coming in. He'll try to save it for Wainwright and earn a split in the series.
Are at Lumiere Place. Waino's big recovery as Wainwright settles in. 2-out terrors. The Cardinals do some 2-out damage. And we'll have Tony La Russa's post-game reaction as well. That's all coming up after the game. As Ryan Franklin comes into the game for the Cardinals, we send it to Dan and Al. Guys.
All right, thanks, Jim. Top of the ninth, 4-2 Cardinals, and Franklin has been, yet again, Al, very solid this year.
Nailed down his ninth save on Tuesday night. He's only blown one save, and that was a little questionable as he inherited a runner at third base, and he scored on a wild pitch. But 2-0 on the year, 9 out of 10 saves, 2.60 ERA. Look at that, 17 and a third innings, no walks.
That's big. No
big.
walks.
Well, because he's the type of guy that is going to give up a few hits. So if you can not add to it with free passes, you're well ahead of game.
That helps. First pitch, Pujols, one away.
And we've seen at times Frankie can go out there and he can get 3 outs in 3 pitches.
Franklin in relief of McClellan after Wainwright went 7 innings. Wainwright with 8 strikeouts today. McClellan, 1, 2, 3, 8th, which he faced Ramirez, Cantu, and Douglas at the heart of that lineup. 3, 4, and 5, and he struck out 2 of the 3 he saw. And now Franklin gets Ross.
How about that?
By Felipe. Out number 2. Adam Wainwright is our player of the game. And this is presented by Budweiser. 7 innings, 6 hits, couple of runs, and he struck out 8 quickly. 2 pitches, 2 outs here in the ninth after the out of Cameron Maben, and quite a play there from Felipe Lopez.
Really was. And going back to Wainwright once again, he gave up 2 runs. Both of them came in the first inning, really settled in after that. He goes 7 innings, and it's amazing how that bullpen, their work all falls in place. Well, it's 9-6 now. Atlanta coming back on the Reds. And Phillies hold off. They beat the Cubbies 5-4.
37,861 here today. 1 ball, 1 strike on Brent Hayes. The catcher has a couple of base hits, their 8th place hitter. Good pitch. And the Marlins down to their final strike.
Will be a 6-pitch save for Franklin.
One, 2, pulled foul.
Atlanta has the potential winning run at home plate. Bases are loaded, 1 out. Reds still leading 9-6.
The situation here, Franklin has an easy night if you bring him back tomorrow if need be.
Absolutely. And he could be available. I mean, it would be 4 days in a row, but he gets this within 10 pitches or so, and you got the off day on Monday. You know, watching him, you could conceivably go 4 straight games.
Here is a 2-2 pitch. Time run comes to the plate.
First walk of the year. Good game for Brett Hayes.
Brings in Wes Helms. Helms will be the pinch hitter, as you noted last night. He is one of the leaders of this team.
And he's really been an outstanding pitch hitter last 4 or 5 years.
He's got the occasional pop in his bat. He had 23 home runs with Milwaukee in 03. Last year he had 3 home runs and hit .271. This is his 3rd year with the Marlins.
3 for 14, 2 RBIs as pinch hitter this season. It's the most pinch hits since '05. It's 67 pinch hits since '05. That's the most of any active major leaguer. 6 pinch hit home runs, 42 pinch hit RBIs.
Outfield extremely deep for Helms. And that's a foul ball. So the Marlins again down to their final strike. No balls, 2 strikes on Wes Helms. Freddie Gonzalez, his club, came out, dominated last night. Tony La Russa, his starting pitcher today, was up to the task. That's Wainwright with 8 strikeouts, 7 innings of work.
A walk-off grand slam for the Atlanta Braves is, for 2 nights in a row, have turned the tables on the Reds. The Cardinals could go back in first with a victory here today.
Swing and a miss. Franklin the strikeout. Cardinals hold on. 4-2 our final. So the Cardinals are back in first place. Post-game show coming up.